Our courageous woman Lucy needed to do was convey a puzzling satchel to Mr. Jang. Yet, promptly Lucy is up to speed in a terrible arrangement where she is caught and transformed into a medication carrier for a new and strong engineered drug. At the point when the sac she is conveying within her stomach releases, Lucy's body goes through incomprehensible changes that starts to open her psyche's maximum capacity. With her freshly discovered powers, Lucy transforms into a barbarous champion aim on getting back at her detainers. She gets important assistance from teacher Norman, the main expert on the human brain, and French police commander Pierre Del Rio. Welcome to my channel FaBFest. Please subscribe my channel, like and share if you like my videos. In the present, Lucy is a youthful American lady outside a lodging in Taiwan with her drawn-out beau Richard. He is requesting that she take a folder case up to the room of a Mr. Jang. Despite the fact that offered $500, she will do nothing for Richard without understanding what it is that he believes her should convey, so he binds Lucy's wrist to the handle of the attaché, leaving her with no decision. She enters the anteroom and lets the assistant know that Richard is sending her up to Jang, and afterward anxiously gives her name to the representative. Lucy peers through the window to see Richard grinning and attempting to energize until he is shot and killed. A gathering of hooligans emerge from the lift and empower Lucy to go up with them. This scene is compared with film of a cheetah pursuing a gazelle, destroying it and afterward conveying the gazelle's cadaver in its teeth. They take Lucy to Jang's loft. There are bloodied carcasses on the floor, making Lucy upchuck. Jang emerges with his hands absorbed blood. He rings up a man on the telephone to decipher for Lucy. She cries, not realizing what is happening or why any of this is occurring. Jang records number 140 on a piece of paper, which is the code to open the satchel. Jang ventures into the following room while his men arm themselves with weapons and safeguards. Lucy opens the folder case, which contains 4 1-kilogram packs of blue powdered gems. Jang gets a sedated up man to grunt a portion of the blue powder. The man momentarily writhes and afterward begins chuckling twistedly until Jang shoots him in the head. Lucy is then arranged to finish a work, which she will not do until she gets smacked. Lucy awakens in a lodging. There is a gauze on her stomach. Jang's men come in and toss her some garments. She is taken to Jang alongside 3 different men. An English man known as the Limey comes in to clear up for Lucy that she and different men have had a medication called CPH4 stuffed into their lower digestion tracts. The medication should be the following large thing available, and they plan to pirate it across the world. Subsequently, Lucy is taken to a room and tied up, where one of the hooligans attempts to get into her pants, then begins kicking her in the stomach, right where they cut into her. This causes a tear in the medication sac, releasing the powder into Lucy's framework. She starts to squirm and whip all over the room, in any event, arriving it up to the roof until she falls down to the floor. As all of this occurs, we meet teacher Samuel Norman giving a talk to a homeroom on his exploration of the mind's ability. He basically makes sense of what could occur on the off chance that people could surpass past the proposed 10% mind limit that they use, as well as reactions to specific conditions would permit the cerebrum to submit to eternality or proliferation. Fundamentally, in the event that the subject could do without their current circumstance, they would pick everlasting status and move somewhere else. However, assuming they were content with their setting, they would be lean to replicate. If, say, people could reach up to 40%, they could control matter. One understudy asks Norman what might occur on the off chance that people came to 100%. He says he can't really understand. Lucy stirs, with her eyes sparkling radiant blue. She sits up standing, more settled than previously. A hooligan comes into the room, and Lucy spreads her legs to entice him. The hooligan grins and sets out his weapon on the table. As he strolls over to her, Lucy gets his belt and flips him over, then pulls the table over to take the weapon. After she liberates herself, she shoots different hooligans as they're eating. She has chance in the shoulder, however can recover the shot without feeling torment. She then, at that point, eats every one of the hooligans' food prior to leaving. She finds 2 cabbies outside, shoots one in the leg and gets one of them to take her to the emergency clinic. While heading to the medical clinic, Lucy has elevated faculties and can hear people groups' voices from outside the vehicle. At the point when she gets to the emergency clinic, she can obviously peruse the signs as though they were in English to her. She gets to a working room where specialists are dealing with a man. Lucy takes a gander at the patient's X-beam sweeps and afterward shoots the man, expressing to the specialists that they could never have had the option to save him on the grounds that the cancer in his mind had proactively spread sufficiently far. She powers the specialists to remove the sac from her stomach. She then calls her mom to tell her that she feels everything, the air, the blood in her veins, the intensity leaving her body, and is even ready to get to the most profound pieces of her recollections, similar to when she was debilitated as a kid or in any event, petting a feline when she was scarcely a year old. She lets her mom know that she adores her prior to hanging up. The specialist hauls the sack of medications out of Lucy's stomach, and after she lets him know that it's CPH4, he lets her know this is the sort of thing that pregnant ladies produce a month and a half into their pregnancy as supplements for the embryo, and that the specialist is shocked Lucy has endured this long with it in her body. Lucy makes another stop back to the lodging to find Jang as he is busy getting a tattoo and a facial. She kills his gatekeepers and afterward shoos the tattoo craftsman away prior to staying blades in both of Jang's hands. With her recently discovered powers, she does a Vulcan mind merge into his cerebrum and sees where the other 3 medication carriers are going in light of pictures of their boarding passes. She leaves, and Jang lets out a tormented shout. Lucy goes to the loft of her companion Caroline to utilize her PC. All she peruses Norman's exploration in no time, then reaches him to let him know what she's perused. He is bewildered to hear that she read everything, even as she keeps on making sense of what she is feeling and encountering, since she has arrived at up to 20% cerebrum limit. She can control hardware, showing up on the television in Norman's lodging, as well as his telephone and the radio. She intends to meet with him in 12 hours. Prior to leaving, she prints out a solution for Caroline, telling her that her liver and kidneys are fizzling and that she really wants to go with new way of life decisions and she'll be okay. The report about Lucy shooting the patient has spread, so as she clears her path through the air terminal, she changes her hair tone and style. She calls a French cop, Chief Pierre Del Rio, to illuminate him regarding the other medication carriers. She then gets onto the plane and proceeds with her exploration on the cerebrum, composing on her PC at quick-fire pace. The airline stewards request that she switch off her PC, and Lucy requests a glass of champagne, while likewise letting one no airline steward to wipe her nose without looking, and the woman's nose drains later. Lucy is given the champagne glass and toasts to information. She tastes, and afterward 40% streaks on screen. She finds a tooth in her glass, and afterward she throws up 3 additional teeth. Then her skin begins to crumble, on display of the travelers and airline stewards. Lucy hurries to the washroom, where her fingers begin to vanish, and her face starts to kind of soften. She takes out the remainder of the CPH4 and grunts it, re-establishing herself to typical, yet she drops. Lucy awakens in a clinic room, with Del Rio and a couple of different officials and specialists pausing just after they have caught different carriers. She sits up in a flash, to the caution of a medical caretaker. In the meantime, one of Jiang's cohorts, Jai, comes in with additional outfitted men to track down different carriers. They bring them into a room and cut the medications out of them in the wake of killing them. Lucy leaves the room and is encircled by equipped men. With an influx of her fingers, she can make it lights out time for them all, aside from Del Rio. Together, they track down Jiang's men, and, with her cerebrum capability now at 60%, she moves them around the lobby and keeps Jai from getting away with the folder case loaded with drugs by making a kind of imperceptible wall. She swipes the medications from Jai and begins to leave, however arranges Del Rio to go with her. He assumes he is of no utilization to her, however she strolls over to him and kisses him, requesting that he come as an update. Lucy utilizes her powers to find another area, taking over Del Rio's vehicle and driving manically through the roads, conceding she's never determined. Jiang and Jai follow her. Lucy and Del Rio track down Norman and his partners in a college, where she starts to uncover all she has come to acknowledge, with her mental ability presently surpassing that of an ordinary person. While this occurs, Jiang and his men invade the spot and begin shooting. Lucy gives the remainder of the CPH4 to the teachers for them to orchestrate into a fluid material that goes into her circulation system. Her mind capability goes to 70%, and her hands begin to transform into a dark, diseased kind of goo that joins itself to the PCs in the room, giving Lucy more energy from issue, and consequently providing her with a crazy measure of force. As her mind capability keeps on expanding, she controls matter so that she appears to delete everything in the room, leaving the teachers remaining in blank area prior to making another age super PC before their eyes of some sort. From outside, as Jiang's men are shot somewhere near the police, he arranges Jai to follow through with something. Jai takes a rocket launcher and impacts through the room, sending Lucy large number of miles to Times Square. She figures out how to move time with a flood of her hand. She ventures in reverse from mid-20th century New York to Pilgrim times, even the entire way to ancient times, to encounter the proto-human from the initial scene. They contact fingers, sending Lucy through the universe and all of existence, giving her limitless and endless power. Jiang goes into the room and gradually raises his firearm to Lucy's head. And afterward she comes to 100%. Her body vanishes, abandoning her garments. Jiang discharges his firearm at nothing. Del Rio comes in and shoots Jiang to death. Del Rio comes in and shoots Jiang to death. The dark matter in the room vanishes and transforms into a blaze drive that grounds in Norman's grasp, in this manner extending and finishing his examination. Del Rio asks where Lucy is. A message shows up on his telephone saying, "I'm all over." The film closes with an above shot of Jiang's cadaver while Lucy's voice says, "This is how can be managed life." Please subscribe my channel, like and share if you like my videos.